Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Good morning. We are going to continue in our services on page 147. Page 147 with Shochein Ad. And if you want to sneak over and grab a cup of coffee from when we began in the beginning, there would be no judgment. Meaning, I'm thinking about going in the back and getting another cup of coffee, and I need some help too. So I feel like, no, I don't want you to get me a cup of coffee. That's not the kind of internship we're having here at Adat Ariel. I just want to let you know that. That ain't our vibe. And if I want to remain married, sleep on the couch for the rest of my life, I do that. All right. Alan, I'd like dark, freshly ground, sourced from, what do they call it? Yeah, exactly. I want the whole thing. I want like the $6 cup of coffee. All right. The cantor is armed with her hot cocoa. Did you have a cup of cocoa this morning? Water?
Water.
Okay. Shochein Ad, page 147.
Shochein Ad marom v'kadosh shemo v'chatuv ranenu tzadikim ba'adonai la yesharim navatehila befi yesharim titalal udivrei tzadikim titbarach uvilshon chasidim titramam uvekerev kedoshim titkadash uvmakalot rivevot amcha beit Yisrael. Shekein chovad kol hayetzurim lefanech Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elokei avotenu ve'imotenu leodot le'alel l'shabeach לפאר לרומם להדר, לברך ליעלה ולקלס, על כל דברי שירות, שירות ותשבחות דוד בן ישי, עבדך משיחך, ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, אל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים. ברכות והודעות מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך מלכי העולמים. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ויעמד דברה קירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ובימיכון ובחי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבא מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, ואמירן בעולמה ויאמרו אמן. ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, יוצר אור ובורא חושך, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל. הכל יודוך והכל ישבחוך וכל יאמרו קדוש קדוש. Ein kirkacha v'ein zulatecha, efes piltecha umito melach. Ein kirkacha Adonai Eloheinu ba'olam hazeh, v'ein zulatecha malkeinu l'chayei ha'olam haba. Efes piltecha go'aleinu limot ha'mashiach, v'ein tomeh lecha moshienu l'tchiat ha'metim. Ya lai la lai, ya lai la lai lai, ya lai, I lai lai lai, I lai la lai, ya lai la lai lai, I lai 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 lai. El Adon al kol hamasim, al kol hamaasim. Baruch umvorach, baruch umvorach. Befi kol neshama. God love v'tuvo malei olam, da'at u'tvuna sovevi moto. God love v'tuvo malei olam, da'at u'tvuna sovevi moto. El Adon al kol hamasim, al kol hamaasim. Baruch umvorach, baruch umvorach, befi kol neshama. Hamid goe al chayot hakodesh, v'nenar bechavod al hamerkava, zechut umishor lifnei chiso, chesed v'rachamim lifnei kevodo. I lai la lai, I lai la lai lai, I lai, I lai lai lai, I lai la lai, I lai la lai lai, I lai la lai lai lai. Tovi miorot shebaro Eloheinu, yitzaram b'da'at v'vina ufaskel, koach ukvura natan bahem. Liot moshlim bekerev tevel. El Adon al kol hamasim, al kol hamaasim. Baruch umvorach, baruch umvorach, neshama. Leim siv umfikim nogan, noev sivam bechol ha'olam, smechim v'tzetam v'sasim bevoam, osim b'yem ha'retzon konam. Ya lai la lai, ya lai la lai lai, lai la lai lai lai, ya lai la lai, ya lai la lai lai, lai la lai lai lai. Pe'er v'chavod notnim lishmo, tzola v'rina lezechem malchuto, kara l'shemesh v'yizrachor, ra'a v'yitkin surat halvana. El Adon al kol hamasim, al kol hamaasim. Baruch umvorach, baruch umvorach, befi kol neshama. Shevach, shevach, nonim lo, kol tzeva, tzeva maron, tiferet ugedula, serafim v'yofanim v'chayot hakodesh. Hey, yalai, lalai, yalai, lalai, lai, yalai, lalai, I lie, yalai, lalai, lai, yalai, lalai, lai, yalai, lalai, lai, lai. That tune was by Cantor Beagleisen, who was our chazan here, our senior chazan before me. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you, Ira, for that great tune. 152. La el asher shavat mikol ha'ma'asim, v'yim shvita lev v'shevo kisei kvodo tiferet. תתברך מושיענו על שבח מעשה ידיך ואמירי אור שעשית יפרוך הסלע. תתברך צורנו מלכנו וגואלנו בורא קדושים. השתבח מעולם מלכנו יוצר משרתים. כולם אהובים, כולם ברורים, כולם גיבורים, וכולם עושים בימה וביראה רצון קונם, וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה ובטהרה, בשירה וזמרה, ומברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל המלך הגדול הגיבור והנורא הקדוש הוא. להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח, בשפה ברורה ונימה קדושה, כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. והאופנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מן השאים לעומת צרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו, לאל ברוך נעימות ייתנו למלאכה וקם.
Towards the bottom of 153, and when we hit the bottom, we're going to gather our seat in preparation for the
אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה ליורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות.
אמן.
אהבה רבה אהבתנו אדוני אלוהינו חמלה גדולה ותרחמת עלינו אבינו. נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלע סלע באמת להודות לך ולייחדך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך בהיים שמוע תשמעון ותבטח. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת והיה לכם לציצית וריתם אותו וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת
ויציב נחלון וקיים וישר ונאמן. We're on page 157.
לדור ודור הוא קיים ושמו קיים וחיסון נכון ומלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת ודוריו חיים וקיימים על הראשונים ילאחרונים
אמת ואמונה חוק ולא יעבור אמת שאתה אדוננו ולא יעבותינו מלכינו מלך אבותינו
גואלנו גואל אבותינו ואמותינו יוצרנו צור ישועתנו פודינו מצילנו מעולם שמך אין אלוהים זולתך עזרת אבותינו ואמותינו אתה הוא מעולם מגן ומושיע בלינם
אשרי איש שישמע למצוותיך ותורתך
דברך ישים על ליבו אמן תהילה לאל עליון ברוך ומבורך משה ומרים ובני ישראל לך אנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם ילאי ללאי לאי יאי נאי נאי איי לאי 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 ילאי ללאי לאי יאי לאי לאי Yai lai la lai 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 Ya lai la lai 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 la lai Ya lai la lai 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 I lai la lai 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 la lai 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 Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh נורא תהילות עושה פלא שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד יא לי לה לי 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 איי לי 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 ya lai la lai 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 la lai, ya lai la lai 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 lai, I lai la lai 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 lai, lai lai la lai 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 lai. Tzur Yisrael, kuma b'Ezrat Yisrael, uvdechinu mecha, Yehuda veYisrael, go aleinu, Adonai tzvaot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch Ata Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
Amen. We'll begin the Amidah together along with the cantor on page 159.
Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Agadol, Hagibor ve'Anora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Akol, Vezocher Chaste Avot Ve'imahot, Umevi Goel Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Ve'ahava, Melech Ozer Ufoked U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Ata Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ufoked Sarah, Ata Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechayim Etim Ata, Rav Lehoshia, Mashiva Ruach Umorid Agashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayim Metim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofeh Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayim Emunato, Lishenei Yafa, Michamocha Baal Givurot Umidom Melach, Melech Mimit Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman ata lachayot meitim, Baruch Ata Adonai, Mechayeh HaMeitim, Nekadesh et Shimcha Ba'olam, Keshem shemakdishim oto Bishmei Marom, Kakatuv Ayad Neviecha, V'kara zeh el zeh, V'yamar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzivaot, Meloch ol haaretz kivodo, Az bekol erash gadol, Adir v'chazak mashmi'im kol, Minaseim liyumat serafim, Umatam baruch yomeru, Baruch kevod Adonai mimekomo, Mimkom chamalkeinu tofia, V'timloch aleinu ki mechakim, Anachnu lach, Matai timloch b'tzion, Bekarov בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון, תתגדע ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים. ועינינו תראנה מלכותך כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך על ידי דוד משיח צדקך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. לשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי המלך קדוש וקדוש אתה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Good morning. Yeah, we can do, that's a good idea. Kaddish Shalem. Let's do it.
יתקרא ויתקרא שמי רבה.
אמן.
ויאמר דברך קראתי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וימיכון ובחי תוכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ימרו. אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך. לעולם וליומי יומי יתברך וישתבח ויתפור ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן ביום ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותון ובעלתון דכל ישראל קודם אבוני וישמעיה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רב מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ויאמרו אמן.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome. It's nice to see everyone. Here's what we're going to do. Imagine for a second that you are Noach, right? That you are picked by God. Let's sort of like lower the stakes, though. For a temporary, it's more of like a Gilligan's Island trip than, okay? And so you have to pick... What's that?
That didn't end too well.
I know, like the 3-hour tour, they sure brought a lot of stuff with them, right? Like usually 3 hours, you make sure you have your wallet, an ID, a few bucks for lunch, but they, yeah. Did you like Gilligan's Island?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did? Okay, good. You liked Gilligan's Island? Okay, I was just asking.
If you're a member of a daughter reel, you have to.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No. To write a theme song? You had to write something and... Okay, so this is what we'd like to imagine. Just sit right back. That was not bad, right? I can't go further than that. Just sit right back.
Tail of it.
Tail of it. That start. Sing it up, Evan.
A 3-hour tour. Evan, are we going to get in trouble, Evan, for singing the song? We're a religious service, okay. Would be lost.
The minnow would be lost.
With Gilligan.
Gilligan.
Da-da-da-ba-ba. Do-do-do-do-do-do. A millionaire, not a billionaire.
The movie star, the professor
and
Mary
Marianne here on Gilligan's Isle.
Bravo! That's right. They thought. Okay, so what I was.
We have to say George Weil's name.
George Weil, thank you
He was
for.
Our member who.
And your
composed that.
estate, thank.
He was a
high holidays.
holiday usher.
Listen, if we got Rosh Hashanah down to 3 hours, okay. So that was enough kind of casual conversation. So, yeah. Let's eat. Okay, so you're a rowdy crowd today. All right, so we're going to be reading from Parshat Noach. I was going to go through this exercise, whatever.
Oh, I want to pretend to be.
No, we already pretended enough. When we sang with Evan. So the question was going to be that if you were like, who would you want to take on the boat? Someone that you haven't met before, because obviously the choice of family and friends and close people. But like, who would you bring on the boat of someone that you didn't know, right? I'm like, I love like crossing boundaries and like, no, of course not.
Is this like the question of who would you invite to your sukkah?
Yeah, it's like one of the colleges had one of those like, like what's page 189 of your autobiography kind of question, right? So yeah, it's who would you invite to your sukkah? It's one of those like, but honestly, like think about that. You don't have to answer that, but who would you invite on the boat? And maybe. And this is just an aside, we'll do the introduction here, that I was going to say, like, if you want to hear my thoughts on Parshat Noach, just listen to my Yom Kippur sermon and the importance of a rainbow, that God shows incredible growth, that God recognizes that when you return to a situation, that you don't have to repeat your response. So God's first inclination is to wipe out everything when there is a problem, but then to flee the situation. And fleeing is one of our coping mechanisms as human beings, right? That we either become defensive, we flee the situation. There's all sorts of different coping mechanisms that we adopt in order to kind of get through the day. But as I said over the high holidays, what's a more mature response? A more mature response that exhibits growth is one where you stay in the situation and you deal with it. And that's the rainbow. That's God's commitment to say, hey, our relationship is going to be a complicated one. There's going to be ups and there's going to be downs. There's going to be achievements and there's going to be setbacks. And despite that, I'm committed. I'm in this. And I think that that's one of the most remarkable sort of statements of growth. First of all, you think about it theologically, that God is growing throughout the Bible, and God also takes steps back during the Bible. And I think that that's an interesting theological discussion. But also just in terms of our commandment to sort of imitate God, that God makes a commitment to learn from the past and not repeat the same mistakes. So that is what I presented on the high holidays. I gave out those nifty little cards. So if you want a high holiday credit card, there's not much credit on the card, but there's a card nevertheless, and I'd be happy to give those to you as well. But I think that we look at like the Skirball and the Noah's Ark, and we think like it's not a pediatric story. It's not a pediatric story at all. I mean, in some ways, it's a horrific story and a tale of great destruction, and that growth that God exhibits actually comes at a tremendously high price. And Noah is never the same. And I was going to discuss this. I had just a bunch of ideas. I thought I was going to go with one, but I'm throwing them all out here to try and achieve a 3-hour tour. The way that Noah copes with it. How does Noah cope with all of this at the end? Yeah. And I just want to, so Noah relies on alcohol. I'm proud to say, and I don't know how many of you know this, but every single day of the year, we host at least one AA meeting on this campus. So before all of you arrived, there was an AA meeting here this morning. On Monday, there's an AA meeting on Monday nights. There's one every single morning, even on Yom Kippur. That's a commitment that we've made to the community in recovery, that we all find our vices. And AA and the folks in AA are also making a commitment to sort of cast aside their coping mechanisms, to try and, when they return to situations that have brought trouble in their life, to do it differently. And I think that that's a lesson for us all. It's a lesson from God, from the Bible, the folks at AA, and hopefully for us as well. So we'll now continue with our Torah reading on page 168.
Ein kamocha va'Elohim Adonai, v'ein k'ma'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'hador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch li'olam va'ed, Adonai oz li'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Av harachamim heitiv avir tzonecha et Zion tivne chomot Yerushalayim tivne chomot Yerushalayim kivecha levad batachnu Melech Elam v'nisa Adon Olamim. Vayehi bin Soah Haaron Vayomer Moshe Kuma Adonai Ve'yafutzu oivecha Ve'yanusu misanecha mipanecha ki mitzion tetze Torah ki mitzion tetze Torah udevar Adonai mi Yerushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato Beyana Rachetz Velishmei Kadisha Kadisha Yakira Ana Emar Tushbechan Beyana Rachetz Beyana Rachetz Velishmei Kadisha Kadisha Yakira Ana Emar Tushbechan Yehi Rava Kodamach Detiftach Libi Beoraita Vetashli Mishalin Delibi Veliba Decholamach Yisrael Letavu Lechaim Velishlam Amen. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo. Lecha Adonai Hagedula Ve'agevura Ve'atiferet Ve'anetzach Ve'aod Ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz Ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz Lecha Adonai HaMamlacha V'yamid na'aseh lechol rosh romimu, romimu. Adonai Eloheinu, ve'yishtachavu, ve'yishtachavu, lehadom raglav kadoshu, romimu, romimu. Adonai Eloheinu, ve'yishtachavu, ve'yishtachavu, lehar kodsho, lehar kodsho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. We're having mic problems. The syncing microphone. Let me just make sure it's in the right place.
We can all be seated, and we'll just hop right on into the Torah reading. Can we share over here?
We are beginning on page 41 at the top. This is the first third of the triennial, so we're at the beginning of every parsha, which makes me particularly happy, if I haven't said it before, which I have, and I'll say it again, because we read the beginning of every parsha every week in Minyan, So we can have people who read in Minyan come to read on Shabbos, which is a blessing and a joy. Welcome, Andrea. Vayazor v'yagen v'yoshila chol hachosim bo v'nomar amen. Hakol avukod el Eloheinu tnu kavod laTorah ya'amod hadar. Ben Immanuel? Verut Rishon Baruch Shenatan Torah li'amo Yisrael b'kedushato ve'atem advekim b'Adonai Elohechem chayim kolchem hayom. Oh, it's over here.
Oh, wait. No. Oh, yes.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Amen. Ele toldot Noach. Ish Sadiq Tamim haya bedorotav et ha-Elohim hitalech Noach. Vayoled Noach shlosha banim et Shem et Cham ve'et Yafet. Vatishachet ha'aretz lifnei ha-Elohim vatimaleh ha'aretz chamas. Vayar Elohim et haaretz v'hinei nishchata ki hishchit kol basar et darko al haaretz. Vayomer Elohim leNoah ketz kol basar ba lefanai ki malah haaretz chamas mipnehem v'hineni mashitam et haaretz. Aseh leha tevat atse gofer kinim ta'aseh et hateva ufarta ata me bait umichutz bakofer veze asher ta'aseh ota shalosh me'od ama orech hateva hamishim ama rochba ushloshim amo ushloshim ama ma ko al haaretz komata. I lost my place. Where's Zohar? Find that. 1 minute.
Okay, no problem. Go back up to where you know you were.
Zohar ta'aseh lateva ve'el ama techalena milmala ufeta hateva betzida tasim tachtim sheniim ushlishim ta'aseh ha oh, done.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Amen.
Shkayach.
Torah reading continues on page 43, verse 17.
Ya'amod. Number 1. Avram ben Zurach. The what? The brochel rochel. Laliyah Shniya. You're number 2, but you're really number 1. Halevi.
Baruch et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher b'chabonu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. Va'ani hineni mevi et hamavul mayim al haaretz leshahed kol basar asher bo ruach chaim mitachat hashamayim kol asher ba'aretz yigva v'hakimoti et briti ita uvata el hateva ata uvanecha v'ishtechan shavanecha itach umikol hachai mikol basar shenayim mikol tavi al hateva lecha chayot ita zahar unkeva you. Oops, right there. Yeah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natah b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
You would make your boys proud.
Thank you.
What are we going to say? Chazak Baruch. What are we going to say after we say the thing? After we say? Yeah. Can we tell everybody? Sure. Okay.
One second. Torah reading continues, page 43, verse 20.
Okay, so there's a Sephardic way of saying the brachot. So the Chazan is asking to explain this. So I will say Adonai imachem, God is with you, and you will say Yevarecha Adonai. That's how we open the bracha. Okay?
Ya'amdu harav
Yosef ben Yitzchak Halevi.
Yosef ben Yitzchak Halevi Dina bat Abraham El Aliyah HaShlishi
Adonai imachem.
Yevarecha Adonai
Baruchu et Adonai mevorach. Baruch Adonai mevorach ve'elam ba'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Meha'of leminehu umein habhema lemina mikol remes hadema leminehu shenayim mikol yavo'u elecha lechachayot ve'ata kach lecha mikol ma'achal asher ye'achel ve'asafta elecha ve'haya lecha ve'lahem le'ochla ve'asa Noach kachol asher tziva oto Elohim ken asa.
Emet Toratenu HaKadosha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torato Torat emet v'chayei olam natah b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Chazak Baruch. Torah reading continues on page 44, verse 1. Chapter 7, verse 1.
Ya'amod Zev ben Anshul Revi'i
Baruchu et Adonai HaMorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Olam Ba'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach Le'olam Ba'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai lanoach, פותח ביתך אל התיבה, כי איתך ראיתי צדיק לפניי בדור הזה. מכל הבהמה תורה תיקח לך 7 איש ואשתו, ומן הבהמה אשר לא תורה היא 2, איש ואשתו, גם מעוף השמיים 7 זכר נקבה, לחיות זר על פני כל הארץ, כי לימים עוד 7. אנוכי ממטיר על הארץ 40 יום ו40 לילה, ומחיתי את כל היקום אשר עשיתי מעל פני האדמה. ויעש נוח ככל אשר ציווהו אדוני, ונוח בן 600 שנה, וימבול המים על הארץ. ויבוא נוח ובניו ואשתו שבניו איתו לתיבה מפני מי המבול. מן הבהמה טהורה ומן הבהמה אשר איננו טהורה, ומן העוף וכל אשר רומס על אדמה. 2 באו אל נוח לתיבה זכר נקבה, כאשר ציווה אלוהים את נוח.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Just give me 1 second. 1 second, Robert. And I just want to say that how nice it is, Warren, having you and Melinda. And Melinda, I know you are reading the Haftarah this morning, but very quietly and in your modest way, you've joined our community. And your dedication to every Saturday morning being there as we begin services in the Deber Chapel at 9 o'clock. Your kind of your smile, that you always come together, and you always get there. You come early, and I see you talking to one another in the car beforehand. It's very sweet, and I just want to say that your quiet participation in our community speaks very loudly, and we're just so happy that both of you are here and part of it. REL. So thank you for being here.
That was with feeling, too.
And for those of you that might not have heard it,
Wait, hold on.
continue on page 45, chapter 7, verse 10. Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Cobb. I think we're all a little
Which
drunk
book?
this morning. Ya'amon David ben Benjamin. Did I get that right? Hamishi. Look, I remembered from that moment to that moment. That's amazing. Baruch hu et Adonai Amorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Amorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן. ויהי לשבעת הימים, ומהמבול היו על הארץ. בשנת 600 שנה לכד נוח, בחודש השני ב17 יום לחודש, ביום הזה נפקעו כל מעיינות התהום רבה, וארובות השמיים נפתחו. ויהי הגשם על הארץ 40 יום ו40 לילה. בעצם היום הזה בא נוח, ושם וחם ויפה בני נוח ואשת נוח ושלושת נשי בניו ואיתם על התיבה, המה וכל החיה למינה וכל הבהמה למינה וכל הרמס הרומס על הארץ למיניהו וכל העוף למיניהו, כל ציפור כל כנף. ויבואו אל נוח אל התיבה שניים מכל הבשר אשר בו רוח חיים, והבאים זכר נקבה מכל הבשר באו כאשר ציווה אותו אלוהים, ויזכור אדוני בעדו.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
The reading continues on page 46, chapter 7, verse 17.
Where the top? Take it from the top. Yaakov, Israel, Ben Ephraim,
Yamot Harav Yaakov Yisrael. Did I get that right? That's a very interesting name. Ben Ephraim Vechana Shishi. And welcome back to LA. Even if it's only for a visit, come back again more often.
Baruch et Adonai Barach. Baruch Adonai Barach leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayehi hamabul 40 yom al haaretz virbu hamayim vayaseu et hateva v'tarom me'al haaretz vayigberu hamayim virbu me'od al haaretz v'telech hateva al pnei hamayim v'hamayim gavru me'od al haaretz ויחוסו כל החרים הגבוהים אשר תחת כל השמיים 15 אמה מלמעלה גבו המים ויחוסו החרים ויגבה כל בשר הרומס על הארץ ביוף בעוף ובהמה ובחיה וכל השרץ השורץ על הארץ וכל האדם כל אשר נשמת רוח חיים יפו מכל אשר בחרבה מתו וימה את כל היקום אשר על פני האדמה מאדם עד בהמה ועד רומס ועד עוף השמיים ומיהו מן הארץ ושאר עד נוח אשר איתו בתיבה ויגבו המים על הארץ 50 יום.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Okay. And before we before we continue with the next aliyah, I just want to, it's actually sort of funny for me to welcome you here because I know Rabbi Diamond, of course, from his prominent role helping build the greater Los Angeles Jewish community. In particular, I remember very vividly, Mark, when I first started as a little Pisher rabbi. That was the official title. And you took me out to lunch at that vegetarian place on Westwood Boulevard. What was that restaurant called? Yeah, it was. The company was better than the food. And we sat, and it was really hot upstairs. You remember that? And then, and throughout my time, like as I was getting my rabbinic sea legs, you always checked in. And it wasn't just myself, but you really cared. And that's what I think made the Board of Rabbis so effective in those days, that you cared about the growth of rabbis, and that you cared about us not only as rabbis, but as people. And I think that really, and then at the same time, you cared about how the Jewish community was represented to the wider community, and that you really doubled down on those relationships. And I think that those relationships, as we look at the craziness of the world now, those relationships are really important. And a lot of the seeds of those relationships were planted by Rabbi Diamond and in his important work. And then I want to say that I don't think I was aware that while you were creating community amongst rabbis and creating community across religious denominations, you were also creating community here. And that everyone who mentions you just speaks of you glowingly with such a bright smile that your place at Adat Ariel. And that's why it's kind of funny for me to welcome you here, because this is your synagogue. And so I guess I should say more like welcome back home. So it's a pleasure to have you, Rabbi Diamond.
Thank you. I just want to say thanks to everyone for welcoming me back. I didn't bring my better half on this trip, but I will. I'm here for 2 weeks teaching at LMU and taking my students yesterday to a synagogue, tomorrow to a church, Tuesday to a mosque. And I just want to say it is good to be home. We were members here for 21 years, and this is truly, and I hope you all know this, a very, very special community. So thanks for the warm welcome.
Thought when you took the mic you were going to give a Devar Torah. No? Little disappointing. All right.
Good idea, Chazan. The reading continues on page 46.
It's a verse?
Chapter 8, verse 1.
Real easy verse,
Number one, numero uno.
Ta'amod, Devorah, Bat Katriya Lupenina, Laliyah Hashvi'it.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bacha banu mechol ha'amim, v'natnan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Amen. Vizkur Elohim et Noach v'et kol hachaya v'et kol habehema asher ito bateva yavur Elohim ruach al haaretz vayashoku hamayim vayisachru mainot hachayim v'arvot Vayisochru mainot tichom arubot hashamayim vayikale hageshem min hashamayim vayeshu hamayim yal haaretz haloch vashuv vayachasaru hamayim מקצה 50 ומאת יום, ותנח התיבה בחודש השביעי, ב17 יום לחודש על הרי ערערת, והמים היו הלוך וחסור עד החודש העשירי, והעשירי באחד לחודש נראו ראשי ההרים. ויהי מקץ 40 יום, ויפתח נוח את החלון התיבה אשר עשה. וישלח את העורב, ויצא יצוף ושוב עד יבושת המים מעל הארץ. וישלח היונה מאיתו לראות הכולו המים מעל פני האדמה, ולא מצא היונה מנוח לכך רגליו, ותשב אליו אל התיבה, כי מים על פני כל הארץ, וישלח ידו ויקחך, ויבא אותו ויבא אותה אליו אל התיבה, ויחל עוד 7 ימים אחרים, ויוסף שלח את היונה מן התיבה, ותבוא אליו היונה לעת ערב, והנה עלה זית טרף בפיח, וידע נוח כי כלו המים מעל הארץ. ויחל עוד 7 ימים אחרים, וישלח את היונה, לא יספה שוב אליו עוד. ויהי ב600 שנה, בראשון באחד לחודש, הרבו מים מעל הארץ, ויעשר נוח את מכסה התיבה ביער, והנה הרבו פני האדמה. ובחודש השני ב27 יום לחודש יבשה הארץ.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת האמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני
שמו
נותן התורה.
I'm going to switch places with you. Yeah, this is the time for the embarrassment and public.
Did I do that right? I know I said everything wrong.
No, you didn't.
I was practicing so hard.
You did such a.
It was just thrown to the wolves. Walked through the door. I thought I was coming for an innocent morning, and I was just threw this at me and told me that I had to sing. I haven't warmed up my voice or anything, Cantor.
I warmed up for you.
Okay.
This is actually, we're going to all warm up our voices because this is Kate's first time having an aliyah. So Kate was raised in an Orthodox home, and she's very shy and very reserved. And Catriella, your mom's like super shy, right? Right. Actually, I would recommend joining the board of directors just to hear Kate, like the meetings. Some of the jokes can't be recorded in the minutes, frankly. Very innocent, filthy, actually, filthy, but fun. Anyway, but seriously, that you care about doing this, that you care about your daughters having a path to the Torah, and that you care, that both of you care about building a Jewish home together, is just a testament to the type of people that you are. And so next week is going to be about you, okay? Right now is going to be about Mom, because we're super proud of Mom. I know you both are. We're proud of Mom, and we're proud of her. Getting up here for the first time is not I imagine that's a big step. Yeah, and so we're going to make it even a little bit more emotional. We're going to, here, come on up, everyone. You guys come up, the four, and like, get a little family shmush thing going on over here. Come on, go over here. And together with the cantor, we're going to sing the Shehechianu, because the Shehechianu, oh, Evan, you can join in. You like harmonize and stuff. Okay. Guys, the Shehechianu is a blessing that you make. I know you know it, but it's specifically a blessing when you celebrate something good that you think like you're going to have the anticipation it's going to happen again and again and again. And to have you all up here in front of the Torah is something that we know is going to happen again and again, as early as next week even. So we are going to sing the Shehechianu. Here, put your arms around Mom and all one another, just embracing the beauty of this time.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
And may you as a family continue to find blessing with each other, with this community, and with our tradition. And we say, Amen. Okay. All right, Kate, enough talking up there. We got to move on with the service. You're slowing things down. Yeah.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה. ילמד יברח יוטה וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה ובזמן קריב ימרו. אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך. The olam ulol me'almaya yitparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitala shmei d'kudisha v'uli'ela min kol bichata v'shirata kushmechata v'nechemata damiran bi'alma. Amen.
And the Maftir is found on page 48, chapter 8, verse 12.
Tamod Malka bat Shmuel Lev Maftira Chazak. Okay. Baruch Adonai Havorach Le'olam Vahed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Vahed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai
B'shemo.
HaTorah.
Amen. Amen. V'yachel od shivat yamim achirim. וישלח את היונה ולא יספה שוב עליו עוד ויהי באחת ושש בעוד שנה, בראשון באחד לחודש, הרבו באים מעל הארץ, ויסר נוח את כביסי התיבה, וירא והנה חרבו פני האדמה, ובחודש השני בשבעה ועשרים יום לחודש יבשה הארץ.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai
Shemo.
noten haTorah.
Please rise for the lifting and wrapping of Sefer.
מחזיקים בה בתוכי המאושר. עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה בתומכי המאושר. דרכי נועם בכל דרכי נועם. It's fine. כל נתיבותיה שלום, לי, 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 לי.
Do you want to?
Huh?
Do you want to? No. Okay. At this point in the service, we're going to offer prayers of healing. I think many of us are still reeling from the news and the headlines yesterday, the attack on the Pelosi home. And not only do we hope for a physical healing, but we also hope that we can, as a country, have a spiritual healing. We're about to have another election, and I think all of us are rightfully concerned about the tenor of discourse in this country, and that when politics become so filled with hate that they bleed into violence and to true hatred of the other. I spoke a little bit about this over the high holidays, but it's scary to think that there's absolutely no trust in this the between right and left. Certainly no discourse. Not only is there cynicism, but there is hatred, and we need to do better. We need to do better for us and for our kids, and we all need to watch how we talk about one another in order to raise this country to the level, to the spiritual level that we know it deserves to be on. With that in mind, we'll also offer prayers not only for our country and for its spiritual healing, but for healing for individuals who are experiencing illness. So if you know of someone or several people who are in need of healing, please rise in your place. And when I look at you, please share their name so we can all pray for their healing. Mi sheberach avotinu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech v'yirapeh et hacholim v'et. miss anyone? HaKodesh Baruch Hu Yimlei Rachamim Aleichem L'Hachzikam L'Refuatam V'Yishlach Lehem Refuah Shlema Min Hashamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf B'Toch Sharei Chol Yisrael Hashtabag Lav Izman Kariv V'Nomar Amen. May God provide all. May God give us the inspiration to help us find healing in this world, and let us all say, Amen. So this morning, first of all, can I share, Melinda, can I share about your address that you told Jill?
Oh,
So is that all right?
it's okay, go ahead.
Okay. So it's like, like we've hit the holy the jackpot with new congregants with Warren and Melinda, not only for their spirit and their participation, and that Warren read Torah for us the other week, and Melinda is we realized that she's like a Haftarah expert. But she also dresses thematic to the Parsha. So she turned to Jill and she said, Jill said, "Oh, I like your dress." And Melinda said, "Thank you very much. You get it? It is a nautical theme for in recognition of Gilligan's Island, Evan." Anyway, the Haftarah this morning is going to be found on page 65. Page 65, the Haftarah, which is from the book of Isaiah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chor b'nviim tovim v'ratzav v'divrei hanemarim be'emet Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nviei ha'emet v'tzedek Rani akara lo yalda pisli rina v'tali lo chala ki rabbi b'nei shomema b'bnei v'ula amadonai harchivi mekom aholech v'yirod mishkanotayich yatu al tachsochi Barichi metarayich v'tedotayich chazeki Ki yaminu small tivroti v'zar goyim yirash Barim neshamot yoshivu Al ti'i ki lo teboshi v'al ti'kami Ki lo tachbiri Ki v'shet alumayich tishachachi V'cherpat alumotayich Lo tiskri od Ki v'alai osayich Adonai tzevaot shemo V'galei kedosh Yisrael Elohei Chol ha'aretz yikarei Ki kisha azuva V'atzuvat ruach karach Adonai V'eshet nurim Ki tema'em ama Elohayich Berega katon azbatich Urachamim gidolim akapsech B'shetzet ketzet histarti Panai regamimech Uvechesed olam Vichamtich Amago alech Adonai Ki Noach zoli Asher nishbati Mavor Noach od Al haaretz kehen nishbati nikso alayich umigar bach ki harim yamushu v'hagavaot tirmutena v'chasi meitek lo yamush uvri shalomi lo tamud amar hamech Adonai Aniya sa'ara lo nuchama hine anochi mabit bapur havanayich v'sidatich basapirihim v'samti kad kod shimshotayich uv'sarayich lavne ekdaha v'chol gevulech לפני חפץ, וכל בנייך לימודי אדוני, ורב שלום בנייך, בשדך תכונני, וחכי מאושך, כי לא תירא, ומחיתה, כי לא תקרב אלייך. הן גויה גור, אפס מאותי, מקהיתה עלייך יפול. הנה אנוכי בראתי חרש, נפח באש פחם, ומוציא כלי למעשהו, ואנוכי ברתה משחית לחבל. כל כלי יצור עלייך לא יצלח, בכל לשון תקום איתך למשפט. תרשיעי זאת נא לחלת עבדי אדוני בצדקתם, באיתי נאום אדוני. הוי כל צמא לכו למים, ואשר אין לו כסף, לכו שברו ואכלו, ולכו שברו בלא כסף ובלא מחיר יין וחלב. למה תשקלו כסף בלא לחם, וגיחם בלא לשווה? שמוע אלי, ואכלו טוב, ותענגיו בדשא נפשכם. הטו אוזניכם, ולכו אלי, שמעו ותחי נפשכם, וברכתה לכם ברית עולם, חסדי דוד הנאמנים. הן לאומים נתתיו, נגיד ומצב לאומים. הן גוי לא תדע תקרא, וגוי לא ידעוך, אליך ירוצו, למען אדוני אלוהיך, ולקדוש ישראל כי פארך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, צור כל העולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות, האל הנאמן האומר ויעשה, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק. נאמן אתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו, ונאמנים דבריך, ודבר אחד מדבריך, אכל לא ישובכם, כי המלך נאמן, ורחמן אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני. האל הנאמן בכל דבריו, רחם על ציון כי היא בית חיינו, ולעלובת נפש תושיע במהרה בימינו, ברוך אתה אדוני. משמח ציון בבניה, שמחנו אדוני אלוהינו באליהו הנביא עבדך, ובמלכות בית דוד משיחך, במהרה יבוא ויגל ליבנו, על כיסאו לא ישב זר, ולא ינחלו עוד אחרים את כבודו, כי בשם קודשך נשבעת לו, שלא יכפה נרו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני.
Baruch hu Rosh Shemo.
מגן דוד.
Amen.
על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל השבת הזה, שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך, וברוכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
Amen. Yesher koach Melinda. That was great. That was really great. Ayesha Koach to Melinda for a beautiful Haftarah chanting. We're going to now turn back in our Sidurim to page 177. And again, let's offer prayers for our country. We'll just read the last paragraph on the page together. On page 177, a prayer for our country, towards the bottom of the page. May it be your will that our land be a blessing to all who dwell on earth, and may you cause all peoples to dwell in friendship and freedom. Speedily fulfill the vision of your prophets. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. For all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall know me. And let us say, Amen. And let's turn to page 178. Page 178, let's offer a prayer for Medinat Yisrael. Many of us are paying attention to the electoral process here in the United States, but just a few days apart from our own election, Israel is going to the polls again, the fifth time in 4 years, because Israel, as most of you know, is a parliamentary democracy, so that requires obviously 61 seats in a coalition to sustain a government, and for various reasons, the coalitions have folded. So we'll see what happens as a result of this next election. But we hope for certain that it's done safely and in good faith. Let's offer a prayer for Medinat Yisrael together in the Hebrew on page 178. Avinu Shabbat Tzor Yisrael v'Goalo. Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmichat Gulatenu. Hagen alea be'evrat chastecha, ufros alea sukat shlomecha, ushlach orcha v'amicha l'rashea, tzarea v'yoatzea, v'takneim be'etza tova milfanecha, chazek et idei mignei eretz kodshenu, v'anchilem Eloheinu Yeshua, v'yateret nitzachon ta'atrem. V'natata shalom ba'aretz, v'simchat olam yoshvea, v'nomar amen. And may Israel continue to be a source of blessing for the entire world, and let us say amen. And now, introducing next week's Bat Mitzvah, Catriella Weeks, who will lead us in the Ashrei.
People could see you. Can you see her?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Here, come stand with the microphone. And whenever you're ready, points, you don't lose your spot.
Ashrei yoshvei beitecha, od yahalelu chasela.
Ashrei ha'am shekachalo.
Tehila leDavid, aramimcha Elohai hamelech, va'avarcha shimcha leolam va'ed.
B'chol yom avarchecha, v'ala shimcha leolam va'ed.
Gadol Adonai umhulal me'od, v'ligdulato ein chaker.
Doidu shemach ma'asecha, gvuratecha yagidu.
Hadar kevod hodecha, v'divrei niflotecha asicha.
Ve'zuz norotecha yomiru, udlacha asperena.
Zecher rav tuvcha yabiu, v'tzidkatcha yaradenu.
Chanun v'rachum Adonai, erech hapam yigdal chesed.
Tov Adonai lakol, v'rachamav al kol ma'asav.
Yoducha Adonai kol masecha, v'chasidecha yivrachucha.
Kedvod malchutcha yomeru, ugvoratcha yadaberu.
Lodia livnei adam ugvoratav, ukvar dar malchuto.
Malchutcha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltcha bechol dor vador.
Someach Adonai lekol anoflim, v'zo kefel lekol akfufim.
Einei chol elecha yasaberu, ve'ata noten lahem et ochlam be'ito.
Poteach et yadecha, umaspil lekol chayratzo.
Tzadik Adonai bechol derachav, ve'chasid bechol ma'asav.
Karov Adonai lekol korav, lekol asher yikru v'emet.
Retzon yereyav yaseh, ve'et Shabbatam mishma, ve'yishiem.
Shomer Adonai korav, v'yekol rashim yashmid.
Tehilat Adonai yedaber pi, v'yevarech kol basar shem kodsho leolam va'ed.
V'anachnu nevarech ya, me'ata v'yodo want to say that, Catriella, we are looking forward to your bat mitzvah so much next week. And we also want to say that, Catriella, you're not going to be called up to the Torah alone, because we're actually not only celebrating your bat mitzvah, but we're going to be celebrating Manny Kaplan's second bar mitzvah. So we look forward. It's really his third bar mitzvah. That we'll talk about that next week. And so we look forward, Manny, to celebrating with you and your family, and Catriella to celebrating your big day with your entire family as well. So we're super excited, and it promises to be a beautiful Shabbat next week. We'll continue with Yahalalu, page 183. Hey, Catriella, you want to open the ark? All right, come on. Sorry,
Should we get Van?
Yeah, Van, can you open the other door, please?
Hallelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav Shemo levado, hodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayarem keren leyamu, tila lechol chasidav, livnei Yisrael am kirovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Mizmor leDavid, Havul Adonai b'nei Elim, Havul Adonai kavod laos, Havul Adonai kavod shemo, Ishtachavu Adonai behadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai alamayim, Ela kavod irim, Adonai al mayim rabim, Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai be'adar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et arzei halevanon, Vayarkidem kemo egel, Levanon v'Sirion kemo ben re'emim, Kol Adonai chotzev lavodesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yachol elayalot, Vayechesof yarot uve'echalot, Kulo omer kavod, Adonai lamabul yashav vayeshev, Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz liamo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom uvnucho yomar shuva. Adonai revot of Israel. Ki lekach tov natati lachem torati, al tazovu et chaimi, lama chazikim ba vetomcheha vemeyushar derachea darchei noam v'chol netivotea shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva chadesh yameinu kekedem ay lai 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 nai 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 slowly ay lai make it like the end of the song lai 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 lai
We can all be seated. If you're looking for some good adult education, on Wednesday evenings, we are having a seminar series led by our very own rabbinic intern, Jill Goldwright, called Judaism 101 Fun. And there is certainly a lot of fun, but there's also a lot of good learning in that seminar, and I've heard all about it. And so if you want Joette Labinger gives it 2 thumbs up. So, right, everyone agrees. I see a lot of nodding. Okay, which is wonderful. And we have a whole host of Jewish educational programs that launched last week, including for those of you, it's really beautiful in here to hear so much singing. For those of you who are singing from memory, that's wonderful. And if you would like a refresher on the Hebrew reading, there's a class for that with Rachel Freed. And then if you look at people like Evan, or you look at people like Melinda, or so many other members of our congregation who read Torah beautifully, if you'd like to stretch your own skills and learn to read Torah, there's a seminar for that as well. So it just started last week. You can kind of hop right on in and catch up pretty easily. So we would love to invite you to those seminars. I'm also teaching a class on Tuesday evenings where we're going through the entire book of Exodus, and that's also been a lot of fun. And hopefully, if you'd like to join, we actually have a recording of the first session, so you can just kind of hop on into that as well. So if you want to get a sampling of how wonderful Jill Goldwright is, this is going to be your sampling now, because it's my pleasure to call upon our extraordinary rabbinic intern, Jill Goldwright, to be our darshanit this morning.
Shabbat Shalom. And while we're making introductions, I wanted to introduce myself to you, Rabbi Diamond, because I'm internship is through AJRCA. I'm a 4th-year rabbinical student there. And I just want to say, whatever modeling you did for being a mentor for Rabbi Schuldenfrei when he was starting off must have been exemplary, because his mentorship of me and for me has been just nothing but a blessing. So Shabbat Shalom to you and to all of you. When my children were babies, I was making repeated trips to the baby supply store for still more diapers and formula, and I would inevitably find myself wandering around the furniture department, checking out the latest designs for a baby's nursery. Everything was adorable. Farm animals, jungle creatures, fire trucks, butterflies. And regularly, if not always, there would be a Noah's Ark theme, complete with a cartoony, white-bearded man with a kind face, a fanciful wooden boat, lots of smiling animals, and a big, bright rainbow on the top. In fact, at my own baby shower, I received a Noah's Ark-themed music box as a gift. It chimed, "Rain, rain, go away." And when I was growing up, there wasn't a Sunday school or summer camp around, Jewish, Christian, or secular, where choruses of kids didn't all sing along to "The animals, they came on by twosies, elephants, and kangaroosies, roosies, children of the Lord." See, you must have been at some of those camps. There is no need, then, to retell the story that is so deeply secularized, commercialized, and adored in modern American culture. Instead, I would like to open up this morning with a deeper theme of the Parsha, which is the uncomfortable element that lies within the subtext, and that is the question of God creating the flood as a punishment. The Torah explains the flood as God's punishment of mankind for their wickedness, and it happens only 6 chapters into Genesis. That's a lot of wickedness for not a lot of time. By this point, Adam and Eve have already eaten from the forbidden tree of knowledge, and their son Cain has committed the first case of murder. Beyond the actual fratricide, Cain embodies an even deeper moral wickedness when he retorts to God, "Am I my brother's keeper?" A total refusal to be responsible for or accountable to both his family and the world at large. And then things get even worse in the next chapters of Genesis, when angelic, divine beings choose to cohabitate and create children with the beautiful daughters of earthly men. That becomes the last straw for God. No longer is wickedness specific to one serpent, one woman, or one brother. The beings whom God created just a few chapters before have reached a new level of pervasive and irredeemable wickedness. God decides to flood the world, sparing only Noah, his family, and a small sampling of every living creature to set sail and start again. Now, God's selection of Noah as the one to survive the flood and to perpetuate the world seems natural enough. The Torah describes Noah as a righteous man who walks with God. He is also named as the one who alleviates the toil of gardening, as the earth has been stricken with the tangles and thorns resulting from Cain's immorality. Noah, whose name means rest, becomes the one who can tame the landscape. And remembering the disdain God feels for the rest of the men of Noah's generation, just the fact that Noah is not sexually immoral seems to elevate his status in God's eyes quite a lot. Finally, when God warns Noah about the flood and gives him his building instructions, Noah obediently follows God's instructions down to the very last cubit. So, Noah seems like the perfect candidate to preserve all of life on earth, and he does this job capably and well. But today, when we consider the most righteous ancestors of our Torah, think about them. Noah doesn't usually even make the top 5. And how can this be? Right? I mean, he just did everything he was supposed to do. One reason might stem from a small detail in Bereshit chapter 6, which states, Noah was a righteous man. He was blameless in his age. Now, the short prepositional phrase, "in his age," seems to hint that Noah was righteous in his generation, but not for all time. As the rabbis of Tractate Sanhedrin write, compared with the rest of his generation, he was a righteous man. But if he had been in the generation of Abraham, he wouldn't have been considered anything at all. Think of how Abraham and Moses have been portrayed in our tradition. Avraham, Avinu, our father, Moshe Rabbeinu, our teacher. They have been invoked in stained glass, in mosaic, in oils on canvas. We refer to them constantly in our liturgy, our prayers, and our stories. But Noah, he appears in coloring books, painted on the walls of daycare centers, and as mobiles in babies' nurseries. So how do we explain this ambivalent reaction toward God's new choice of the new Adam, the one who begets all the generations to follow the destruction of the world? Many Jews' reticence about Noah stems from his silent and uncritical subservience. Yes, Noah follows God unquestioningly, word for word. But he does so even when Noah fully understands God's intention to destroy the world. Upon hearing God's plan, Noah doesn't say anything. Assured that his own family will be safe, Noah has no questions, issues, or concerns whatsoever about what God is about to do. Now think of Abraham and Moses, who actively argue with God on numerous occasions in the Torah. Abraham appeals to God not to destroy Sodom, bargaining with the divine to save the righteous souls of that city. Moses pleads with God to choose someone else, first off, to lead the Israelites. But when he loses that battle, Moses consistently has hard conversations with God in the wilderness. In their strong demands of God, Abraham and Moshe strike a strong contrast to the voiceless Noah. I like what Rabbi Attar Hadari writes. He says, Noah, he does as he's told. That's why he's a righteous man only in his own generation. He walked with God, but he did not carve out a path for others to follow. He saved their flesh, but did not shape their spirit. That is why Jews look back at Abraham as their father, while the rest of humanity is categorized as sons of Noah. The Torah's spiritual path has to wait for Abraham and Moses. You have to argue with God to get to hear the law. For me, understanding Noah in this way complicates the question of looking at the flood as punishment. If God brings the flood to destroy wickedness, then why, oppositionally, isn't Noah the polar opposite of wickedness? Shouldn't Noah be the exact paragon of purity? Why is Noah written as only kind of righteous, but nowhere near the status of Abraham and Moses, who are outspoken, critical of God, sometimes disobedient, and themselves flawed? So Noah is obedient, yes, but compassionate? Not so much. He follows God's every instruction, but never questions God on why God plans to carry out such a destruction. Noah never stands up. So Noah earns a solid B for above average subservience, but a C- for compassion. And here's where things get muddy. Get it? If Abraham and Moses are A+ students, both for righteousness and for being critical and proactive, then who actually needs to be reprimanded? Who in this story is ultimately the righteous one? And if it's not Noah, what does the theme of punishment mean both in this context and for us today? Allow me to suggest an entirely different approach. Perhaps we can rethink the assumption that this story is about punishing the wicked. Maybe this text is about something more than just the question of reprimand and retribution. Rabbi Joshua Ginsburg Margot offers a very different take on this story. He suggests that the flood was not a punishment for transgressions, but rather an effort to revise creation. It represents the redemptive and iterative process of artistic endeavors. To explain why Adonai regrets having made humankind on earth, Rabbi Ginsburg Margot states, "This is not a God of justice. This is a creator unhappy with the results of his creative efforts." So if the flood is not meant for punitive but for corrective measures, and if the question of wickedness is taken out, and in its place emerges the issue of action and intention, then we can read ourselves, our God, and our natural world in a whole new way. If God sometimes makes mistakes in what God creates, and we sometimes make mistakes in what we create, then B'Tselem Elohim becomes reciprocal. We are made in the image of God. We are like God, and God is like us. Both God and we fail. Both God and we succeed. We don't listen. We do listen. We suffer from arrogance. We lapse into apathy. We learn, and we create anew. Sometimes we all need another opportunity to make it right. Because after floods and punishments, we learn. We learn to see each other, to deepen our compassion. We move from Noah to Avraham, growing from apologies to covenants, journeying from deserts to promised lands. And then we look up. We look up and we see where the rain clouds are parting. Look up now. I can already see the rainbow twinkling in your eyes. Shabbat Shalom.
What a beautiful Devar Torah for us this morning. We're going to continue with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 184.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'yamad yivrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh b'chayechono v'yimechono v'chayedocha beit Yisrael b'galav v'zman kariv v'yimeru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach li'olam li'omei omayayid Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipor v'yitrom aminaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalel shmei dekudesha b'richu li'ela mikol birchata v'shirata Tushbachata v'nechemata damiran bi'olema v'imeru. Amen.
Please rise for the Musaf Amidah, page 185.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei avoteinu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Agadol, Agibor ve'anora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Akol, Ve'zocher, Chaste avot ve'imahot umevi goel ibnei v'neihem lema'an shemo be'ahava melech ozer ufoked u'moshia u'magen Baruch atah Adonai magen Avraham ufoked Sarah atah gibor le'olam Adonai Mechaye metim ata rav leoshia mashiva ruach umorid agashem mechalkel chayim bechesed mechaye metim berachamim rabim somech noflim verofeh cholim umatir asurim Umekayem emunato lishenei afar bichamocha ba'al gevurot umido melach melech memi umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'nemanata lachayot metim baruch atah Adonai mechaye hametim na'aritzecha v'na'aktishcha kesod ziach sarfei kodesh hamakdishim shimcha ba'kodesh kakatuv al yad neviecha v'kara zeh el zeh ve'yamar Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, Meloch ol haaretz kevodo, Kvodo malei olam, Mishartav shoalim zeh lazeh, Aye mekom kevodo, Le'umatam Baruch Yomeru Baruch Kevod Adonai Mimkomo Hu Yifen Berachamim V'achonam Ham Yachadim Shemo Erev Vavoker Bechol Yom Tamid Pamayim Be'ahava Shema Omrim Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Hu Eloheinu Hu Avinu Hu Malkeinu Hu Moshienu Vehu Yashmienu Birachamav Shenit Le'yene Kol Chai Liot Lachem Le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Uvdivrei Kodshecha Katuv Lemor Yimloch Adonai Leolam Elohayich Tzion Ledor Vador Hallelujah Ledor Vador Ledor Vador Ledor Vador Nagid God Lecha Ulenetzach Netzachim Ulenetzach Netzachim Kedushatcha Nagdish Ledor Vador Ledor Vador Ledor Nagid God Lecha Ulenetzach Netzachim Ulenetzach Netzachim Kedushatcha Nagdish V'shivchacha Eloheinu Mipinu lo yamush leolam va'ed Ki el melech gadol Ki el melech gadol V'kadosh ata Ledor vador Ledor vador Ledor vador Nagid God lecha Ulenetzach netzachim Ulenetzach netzachim Kedushatcha Nagdish Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
Kaddish Shalom, page 203.
יתקרא ויתקרא שמי רבה.
Amen.
ביומא תברח ונותב נחמכותי בחייכון ובימכון ובחי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ימרו. אמן. יש מי רבה מבורך לעולם וליומי יומי. יתברך וישתבח ויתבור ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה. בריחו לי אלא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירון בימה ויאמרו. אמן. תתקבל צלותון ובאותון תכל ישראל קדם אבון וישמעיה ויאמרו. אמן. יש שלום רב מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו. אמן. עושה שלום שלום במרומיו ויעשה שלום. עושה שלום שלום במרומיו יעשה שלום. יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. אין כאלוהינו אין כאדוננו אין כמלכנו מי כאלוהינו מי כאדוננו מי כמלכנו מי כמושיענו. נודה לאלוהינו נודה לאדוננו נודה למלכנו נודה למושיענו. ברוך אלוהינו ברוך אדוננו ברוך מלכנו ברוך מושיענו. אתה הוא אלוהינו אתה הוא אדוננו אתה הוא מלכנו אתה הוא מושיענו.
Aleinu, page 205.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה שלא שם חלקנו כהם עלינו ככל המונם ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים. ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו ככתוב בתורתו וידעת היום והשבותה אל לבביך כי אדוני הוא אלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. על כן נקווה לך אדוני אלוהינו לראות מרבה דברי תקן עולם המלכות שלנו בני מסורים כבוד שמך יקרא ידינו וקרבנו וחלנו מהרה לעולם כי המלכות שלך היא ולעולמי תמלוך בכבוד ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
In love, we recall those who no longer walk this earth. We are grateful to God for the gift of their lives and for the cherished memories that never fade. This week, we as a congregational community continue to mark the Shloshim, the 30 days since the passing of Gay Horowitz, David Henry Bernstein, Shirley Ann Cohen, Ann Lauterbach, and Shirley Petiski. And on this Shabbat, in the coming week, we will observe the yurtzeit of Theodore Abelis, Ruth Bressler, Benjamin Davidson, Lawrence Eisenberg, Sylvia Perlmutter, Herman Balter, Irving Barak, Rebecca Epstein, Saul Gilbert, Menashe Levy, Jack Salzman, Ruth Bram, Leo Dozeritz, Louis Dreyfus, Bertha Dubin, Esther Kosoff, Jean Koretz, Kenneth Krause, Emil Miller, Leroy Paller, Gertrude Alexander, Bet Soslarnsky, Sarah David, Selma Gellis, Marvin Kay, Ida Magid, Max Roseman, Milton Stefanowitz, Sam Schneider, Nadine Siegel, Herbert Schechter, Ina Rose Fortman, Herman Glazer, Henry Jacoby, Rose Moravsky, Beatrice Rosenthal, Ruth Sachs, Harold Schneiderman, Harry Spivak, Catherine Spivak, Casey Levy Waldo, Helen Zaret, Israel Goldwasser, Igne Gross, Gisela Marr, Albert Mendelson, Dorothy Osman, Joseph Eisen, Bella Fried, Saul Hirsch, Betty Isovitz, Abe Canner, Marty Krevitz, Irving Layton, Herbert Lee Rappaport, and Bella Spiegelman. Is there anyone observing a yurtzeit or in mourning for someone I didn't mention? We'd like to ask those of you who are in mourning or observing a yurtzeit to please rise as we sanctify God's name with the words of Mourner's Kaddish on page 207. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Bialma divra kirte v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uv'yameachon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru, Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'elam almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha b'richu le'ela minko birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiram bi'alma v'yimru, Amen. Yehi shlama Rabba min shamaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru, Amen. And may the memory of our loved ones be a continuing source of comfort and blessing, and let us say Amen. It's my pleasure to call upon our synagogue president, Adam Spiegel, for some words of gratitude and announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Welcome to Dot Ariel. Please join us for a light kiddush in the courtyard immediately following services. No rain today. Thank you all who participated in our services this morning. Our Darshanit was Jill Goldwright. Our Torah readers were Andrea Kachuk, Jill Goldwright again, Peter Reynolds, and Evan Greenspan. Our Haftarah was Melinda Trauman. Our Aliyah coordinator today was Cindy Olch. Our Gabbayim were Stephen Fox and Robert Sachs. And our Ashrei today is next week's Bat Mitzvah, Catriella Weeks. Look forward to next week. A couple announcements. Next Sunday, November 6th, is going to be day one of Mitzvot 5783 between the hours of 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Mitzvot 5783 is serving as a kickoff for an entire year of volunteer programming with partners in our community. Please visit the Adad.io website to find important resources and all of the wonderful volunteer opportunities available for the morning. There will be a Red Cross blood donation. You need to sign up in advance, and there's a link on the website. I'm at 8:15 if you want to join me. Join a Chavarah at Adad.io. If you're interested in joining a Chavarah, please visit, again, our Adad.io dedicated webpage. You can join a Chavarah based on shared interest or similar age groups. Our Chavarah program is an amazing way to make meaningful connections within our Adad.io community. If you have any questions about any of our programming or sponsoring a Shabbat Kiddush, please reach out to any of our clergies or to myself. And now for the B'nai Mitzvah anniversary kippah. You know, last week was Breshit, and I was a little disappointed you couldn't figure out lavender from the color. Today is Parshat Noah. I'm going to give you the family. It's family LeBeau. Noah LeBeau. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Are you going to be able to keep this shtick up for 52 weeks? Because that is a high bar of shtick. I said, are you going to be able to keep up the shtick for 52? Wow.
Okay, it was the most bar mitzvah. See, I thought I have a black kippah with little animals on it, which I should have worn today.
So, wow. So
we could have dueling kippot.
I want to let everyone know, first of all, we're really looking forward to Mitzvah 5783 Day 1. And again, that's part of, under Rabbi Alexander, her initiative to sort of expand the idea that mitzvah, like if you think of tikkun olam, or the act of social engagement, it's not something you just do on a day. It should be carried with us. So there's going to be a lot more expansive programming throughout the year and opportunities for volunteerism. In terms of the Chavurah, many of you, especially in this room, are already involved in a Chavurah. We understand that. If you're not, if you are involved in the Chavurah, we would urge you just to kind of let us know that you're in existence, so that we can offer you resources. So, for instance, we're going to offer different Chavurot, all sorts of different kinds of programs and different things. So we would love to know that you exist. We're not trying to manage your Chavurah. We just want to kind of know that you're out there. If you're already successful, we're so happy about that. We just kind of want to get an idea of how many of our members are attached to small groups, and we want to offer them resources. Small groups are the way to make big connection. And so we really want to double down on that at .rel. So far, on our new Chavurah interest, we have almost 70 families who have already signed up for participation in a new Chavurah. Those are new Chavurot, and so that's really very encouraging. Speaking about encouraging, it's been so much fun. People say to us, after the high holidays, oh, aren't you glad the high holidays are over? Now it's a time for rest. Well, I have to say that is not our approach here. After the high holidays, that's the time to rev up. That we feel an obligation and we feel an inspiration to offer our community quality opportunities for spiritual connection, educational connection, and personal connection throughout the year. So a few weeks ago, we launched MID. I'm sure there's room in MID. If you'd like to still join, please speak to Susie or Rosalie. I'm partial to the 11 o'clock class. I'm teaching Talmud to the 11 o'clock class, and it's a lot of fun. Rabbi Goodman, I have no idea what he's teaching, but I see his blackboard. He's teaching about the diaspora, and he's got like maps and directions and dates. It's like a lot of stuff. So it looks good to me from what I see. So you may want to consider that. Jill Goldwright, I think you could see already just from her words of Torah what an incredible, thoughtful teacher she is. And she is on Wednesday nights, Judaism 101 Fun, Rachel Freed, Hebrew reading, Torah chanting. And I'm teaching the book of Exodus. We had almost 40 people participate in my Exodus class last week. So it's really, I'd encourage you to come avail yourselves of one of these educational opportunities. And beyond educational opportunities, last night was something really spectacular here, and I want to tell you about it. We initiated a program that I've done in my other synagogues called Jammies and Jeans. And Jammies and Jeans is for the youngest members of our community. So it is intentionally a low bar of entry program. It's Shabbat at 5:30 in the evening, where parents can come with their preschoolers. The kids can run around. We sing together. The puppet tells a story. Rabbi Holtzman led a beautiful service for them, and the kids are eating. And they stayed out in the playground until they all fell asleep. It's a good question. So that the way we're envisioning this is that we want jammies and jeans for the youngest members of our community. We want them to graduate to Family Friday nights, which is sort of elementary school, middle school. And then we want Shabbat morning. Another program that we're initiating is Fourth Fridays. Every fourth Friday. So last night, not only was there jammies and jeans, but in the backfield, we had World Series Shabbat. I understand that the Philadelphia Phillies made a remarkable comeback, but nobody was watching the game, but we were all running around, and it was really a lot of fun. There was like ballpark food, and everyone wore all of the jerseys of the teams that are no longer in the pennant race because all of our teams have been eliminated. Morty, I wore my Gary Carter 1986 jersey and my starter. My wife got me for Hanukkah last year a 1986 New York Mets jacket. And so it's a 40-year-old, I'm loving that. It's a 30-something-year-old jacket, and I looked good. So the Mets didn't look so good the other week, though. So that was last night. The fourth Friday of every month is going to be a themed Shabbat evening. So fourth Friday, it was World Series Shabbat. That's one. But now we're going to get serious. In November, can I tell? So Jill and I are working on these fourth Friday programs. We're having food insecurity Shabbat. We thought about this when we were planning that, especially after Thanksgiving, when we joke about how much food we consume, maybe we should take a moment and think about how many people are food insecure in this country and over the world. So we're having food insecurity Shabbat, and that will be the fourth Friday of November, just a day after Thanksgiving. We're doing that program in partnership with Mazon, and it promises to be an incredible evening. We'll tell you more about it as the date approaches, and watch out for your email. But I just am really so proud of the varied content that we have here, that we want to create opportunities for all people to get connected at a.rel. And then just lastly, this evening, talk about how wonderful job Rabbi Holtzman is doing. This evening, 19 third through fifth graders are coming here at 6:30 for Havdalah, dinner, a movie, and for a shul-in, a sleepover at the synagogue. So 19 of our kids are sleeping over at a.rel. God bless Rabbi Holtzman. You've got to be dedicated. She's sleeping here with these kids. Wait, Adam, you were signed up too. Are you? Yeah. So Adam, myself, Eric, and I think Lee Mendelson. Oh, Marty, you're going to be the responsible one. But you can cook. But you know how to cook. Okay, good, because I don't. But we're all serving pancakes to the kids tomorrow at 7. It's 7:15, by the way. 7:15 tomorrow morning. We'll be serving pancakes to the third through fifth graders who are going to be sleeping over here. And there's just a lot going on here, and that's the way it should be. A synagogue that rests after the high holidays, that's a shanda. A synagogue that says, how can we embrace the blessing of the new year? That's a synagogue that we all want to be part of. Okay. Speaking about being, yes, Alan.
One of the things that I don't think you mentioned, I don't go sleeping at that time. In terms of Rabbi Alexander.
Yeah, oh yeah. Sure. Yeah. So in November, it's good to have so many things going on that you can't announce them all. But thank you, Alan. So we want Shabbat morning. That also dovetails into expanding our Kiddush luncheons, which we've talked about, and on Saturday, and then also following services on beginning in November.
Beginning next week.
That's next week already. Wow. Okay, thank you. So next Saturday, after a beautiful celebration and a beautiful Kiddush lunch, we'll make a l'chaim in honor of Katriella and in honor of Manny, and then we can sit and learn Gemara with Rabbi Alexander. So Rabbi Alexander is teaching the secrets of the rabbis. Dun, dun, dun. So a Talmud class, and I think everyone who knows Rabbi Alexander know that she is a skilled teacher and just a really special person. So it's going to be a great class. There's a lot to do here, and just pick something and come. Anyway, it's
Tuesday night, November 9th, November 8th, Kristallnacht commemoration, also with Rabbi Alexander.
Right, exactly. So it's going to be. There's a lot going on. Keep opening your emails from us because it's not the same old. Okay, with that in mind, we're going to invite all of you guys. Come on up. And Hannah, you're going to lead us in Adon Olam, is that right? and then we'll make Kiddush and Motzi. And why don't you, Katrell, you'll help us with Kiddush and Motzi. And why don't Mom and Dad come up too, just because we like them.
You can use whatever siddur you want.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Adon Olam, Asher Malah, Baterem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Leat Nasa, Lehefsekol, Azam Aklav Shamonikra Adon Olam, Ve'ahare, Kichlot Livdol Lemon Adon Olam, Vehu Haya, Vehu Hove, Vehu Yivav Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malah, Baterem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Leat Nasa, Lehefsokol, Azam El Shemonikra Adon Olam, Vehu Ehad, Ve'ein Sheni, Lehem Shaloch Lehavshira Adon Olam, Ve'li Reishit, Ve'li Tachlit, V'lo Ho'az V'mayim Asher Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malah, Baterem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Leat Nasa, V'hefsokol, Azam El Shemonikra Adon Olam, Vehu Eli, V'hai Go'ali, V'surher Bli B'yad Sara Adon Olam, Vehu Nisi, Yamanos Li, Manakosi Bayom Mikra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malah, Baterem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Leat Nasa, V'hefsokol, Azam El Shemonikra Adon Olam, Beyado Avkid Ruhi, Ve'etishan Ve'arira Adon Olam, Ve'im Ruhi, Kaviyati, Adon Ali Ve'lo Ira Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malah, Baterem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Leat Nasa, V'hefsokol, Azam El Shemonikra Adon Olam.
Please rise. Al Kim Berach Adonai et Yom HaShabbat v'yikad Shehu Savri.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen. Okay, put your hands up.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav al nitliat yadayim.
Amen. Okay, come over here, guys. And Dad, hold it. You ready? And then
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices joined in happy chorus as our prayer is humbly said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
That was great, guys. Can I take a little follow-up? Ruth, how are you? Okay, good. Did you get our message? We left you some messages about bringing
Sephardic. Like, well, you're not. I mean, it's Sephardic in the sense that you came from Spain.
Right.
You don't, there was literally, there,
So do Sephardic define Sephardic really fairly exclusively as from Spain?
well, it's a general thing, in the general world, people say Sephardic is not, if you're not Ashkenazi, you're Sephardic. But in Sephardi Tahor means that you come from Spain, that your family came from Spain, and Espanol was part of that language was there. I mean, still using some of the words, but they were speaking to their Arabic and Hebrew.
Como que caray, como que.